Today we're doing the Newcastle Underline College podcast. We're talking about trade unions, advantage and disadvantage of them, and then the history of trade unions and any disputes that they've had.
I'm Ethan, Caelan, I believe, Matt, Joe. So, with the type of industrial action that employers will take, can be quite drastic, and we're all going to talk about that today. So, you have the advantages and the disadvantages written down, so we can all converse between us.
Okay.
Start that off.
One advantage to the employees is it gives them a greater together power.
Yeah, it does, to be fair. Like, everyone being part of one body, they all represent
All
each
working
other.
together.
They all feel like one body.
Yeah.
Everyone agree with that?
Yeah,
So,
I mean, I was going to say, in a way, it's kind of like, you know, the most powerful people in the world as one person
Exactly,
versus
yeah.
the weakest people against 100.
Yeah.
You know,
So it's all of them. Yeah,
it's
exactly.
strength within
More
numbers,
strength,
isn't
yeah.
it?
as well as that means disputes get solved quicker.
Yeah, because you have specialists in that field.
Yeah.
They're used to handling with stuff like that, so they can do it much quicker than if you had to find someone that would have to do the research about it, stuff first.
And if you have a large number of people, that means that not everybody has to know, like, be specialised in every area.
Yeah.
So they can sort of split the workload between them in a sense.
Yeah.
Like, if you're there for someone else, then someone else can be there for you in the bits that you don't understand.
Yeah.
As well as that gives you a better working relationship.
Yeah, I guess because I suppose anyone else in your workforce all working together, being in the same trade union, I suppose that's good that you can share ideas even when
Yeah,
you're
you
earning.
can come up with like new ideas.
Yeah.
Like, say someone's an artist, for example, they could give ideas of what work they've done recently, can do reviews of other people's, and maybe use that to improve their own work.
That's a bit of solidarity, isn't it?
Yeah.
Advantages to the employer are that it's easier to agree to changes. So,
Yeah. Do you want to expand?
all I was thinking is it just means when you're having a conversation back and forth between an employee and an employer, the employer always stands above
Yeah.
the employee. That's the way that it goes. Whereas when you're working through a union, you kind of put everybody else on a middle ground.
Yeah. I agree with that. Like, because there is always the thought that employees are the authority of the business. They whatever they say goes. With a trade union, they try and act like a peacemaker or bring everyone down to the same level. So yeah, I agree with that. Anyone else have any ideas on that, or do you want to move on to the next one?
You can move on, yeah.
No, I mean on to the
On
next
to the
point.
next.
I'm pretty sure we've done all of them.
Have we done all of
just
them?
the same for
Are they all generally the same?
employee as well.
So you want to move on to the disadvantages of like trade unions now?
Yeah.
I'll start that off by saying it does cost a membership fee to be part of it.
Right.
My thoughts on that is if you're someone that's only recently just started in the job,
Right.
you might not be paid much,
Yeah.
but you'll still want the same representation as someone who's been doing the job for ages. It just seems a bit unfair that maybe the membership will be high. And
It also maybe comes as obviously trade unions can be a really useful thing, but you could also go 10, 15, 20 years without having any real disputes. So that means you're just paying into something that obviously it's great to have, but
Yeah.
you're just paying into something that you may never even use.
yeah, so would you think it's maybe a better idea if you paid per use kind of thing?
Yeah,
Per
potentially.
service. Another thing that we would like, because to a trade union you're just known as maybe a number on a sheet rather than on a personalised level, they might not understand who you are, they might not have that connection with you.
Yeah.
So they'll see your situation and think of it in like almost a generic way. Like they think that everything's the same maybe instead of like learning more about you.
A very robotic
Yeah.
kind of way of looking at things.
Yeah, anyone else think anything about that?
As I say, I can't imagine that would be too great because it kind of takes the humanity out of it.
Yeah.
You know, it's exactly the same thing as hiring an employee.
Yeah.
Applying to college and uni and what have you. You are just a number on a sheet that's looked at for the grades.
Yeah.
There's plenty of people that I know that aren't achieving the grades that they could, but probably some of the most intelligent people I've ever met.
It's just some people have different needs to others.
Exactly.
Some people can respond alright to doing self-learning, whereas others might need more of a hands-on approach.
Potentially you could look at it as just being like a don't judge a book by its cover kind of thing, because all you can see is the cover, you get no sustenance behind the person. So how are you supposed to deal with very personal situations when you don't know the person?
Yeah, 100%. We'll move on to the next one.
Well, I was actually just going to say, with the different regulations of being in a trade union, if there's kind of maybe an uprising within the employees, they all want to go on a strike, then possibly the trade union, kind of possibly put a stop to that, which would maybe rile up some of the employees as they want to have action now. Then the trade union want to negotiate and try and get the best for the employees, whereas the employees are just thinking on impulse, I guess.
Yeah. So maybe it's kind of like
Camera stops.
it might feel like the employees are at a disadvantage because they it's almost as if they listen but don't act in a way. You know, it's like, oh, you guys want a strike? Well, we've got to go find out what your employer thinks about that. Is the whole point not to give some power back to the employees? So why would they then have to negotiate with the employer? You know, just try and...
Do you think, like, with regulations that will be put into place by trade unions, they might not be agreed to by everyone, but they kind of have to buy into it to be part of the union?
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? Like,
so you're compromising your values.
Yeah.
In a way.
You could be agreeing to something that you don't necessarily believe in, but having to, in order to get representation in some way.
Yes.
Do you think maybe regulations should be more company-based, maybe, or do you think that it's the only way to go about it, is having just union-wide regulations?
The trouble with having it any other way is just the sheer amount of in a way extra effort you have to go to.
Yeah.
If you have it on a company basis, man, I'd probably say within Newcastle, Stoke area alone, there's got to be a couple 100,000 businesses, and if you had to change those regulations to fit, to fit every single one of, and this is just in, you know, in Stoke.
On a national level.
Exactly. It's it'd be a lot of work, and maybe just for very small tweaks as well.
Yeah.
So you could sit through and like read a case for hours on end to just say, well, I'm going to keep it all the same but change that one thing.
Do you think maybe then within a union there should be like almost employee, like maybe employee representation, so there's appointed people that is still working within companies, and they're appointed to maybe put ideas across of everyone, so maybe like here in the college we have like a student council.
Yes.
And they hear students' points taken forward to the headmistress, I think. But do you think that would be good in a union if there's a body that is made up of employees, so they understand what's going on? They can listen to other employees to try and make it a union-wide. The regulations could be made better for everyone.
Very potentially. I think with all things you would just have to see how it would go. But there's never any harm in
Trying something.
putting opinions back and forth, and it very well could do a lot of good as well.
Yeah, so I reckon that's enough of that. I want to move on to like an overview of the history of trade unions.
Right, so
Well, we could do, but I was just going to say about the different industrial action. I was just going to say, because what would you think about work to rule, which is obviously like a method of industrial action that is used by workers to make a point to their employers that, and working to rule is where employers just do exactly the bare minimum of their work, of what their contract requires, of what their contract says. So would you say that's a logical way of going about getting your point across to your employer?
I think that's more of a that sense of a motivation factor. If their employees were motivated, they wouldn't be doing work to rule. They do as much as they could, really. So I think that's more of I know that's seen as a way to protest their work, but at the end of the day, they're still doing the work for their employers. So they're still getting what they want, I think it's something that, if you look in the past, hasn't really been too effective. So I think when you look at when there's a large majority of people all in one place, all saying it as one, that seems to get better results and work to all.
If we're talking about strikes, did anybody see the strike for bus drivers in Japan?
Yes.
So the way that they went about that was rather than just stop running the bus routes, they didn't let anybody pay.
No, they let one for free.
And that was a good way to go about it, because then they're not putting anybody out. You know, it's just like Ryanair go on strike. You know, you get hundreds of flights that are cancelled because the Ryanair employees have gone on strike. So it was, I say that was a much more effective method of strike, because you weren't putting people out, but you were proving your point to the company, and that you were still doing your job, but companies want money, and if you're not paying for the bus fare,
exactly, they're not making the money that they want. And the public, it's not like it's affecting anyone else apart from the company, because the public is still getting the transport that they want.
and to an extent it's good for the public. Right?
Exactly.
The amount of times I've had to get the bus and I have very little money on me, like scrounging around in my pockets for the extra 10p. But
we're okay to move on to the issue now. What do you want to make this?
talk more about industrial action.
Go on, if you want to move on to the issue then, Ali.
Sure.
Yeah.
So the first one happened in 1926, and the big strike, the miners' strike, was in 1972.
Okay, so that would have been just before Margaret Thatcher, I think.
Yes, it was under the Prime Minister James Callaghan.
Okay, I don't know too much about him, but if that was the first real mine strike, they did become a lot more frequent, so I'm guessing from just an overview that didn't really get resolved, probably handled in a poor way. And I'm guessing that, does it say anything about whether everyone got together as one, or was it mini protests in different areas? Does it not say anything about
It said it's more as one rather than just.
that? So they were all in one place together. So they've already got the right idea of how to get the results that they wanted, but at this time, government was very reluctant to give in to pressure put on by people of the public. They very much saw themselves as authority. They wouldn't back down to anyone.
Well, I think which Prime Minister was it? I think the Prime Minister who had sat down with the workers and had a beer and sandwiches. Which one was that? I think it was before Thatcher, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was. Oh, I forgot his name. Is that in there?
It could. I think it could. Was it James Callaghan or Callaghan?
Not too sure.
But Edward Heath, I think.
No, it was before Edward Heath.
Actually, yeah. Oh, Edward Heath was the. Yeah.
He was the one before Margaret Thatcher. Edward Heath was.
So it probably could have been.
Because the two presidents.
First, 1972.
The two prime ministers, I think it was 72 and 74. They both resigned due to protests. Because they were having pressure put on them, which they couldn't really react to. So they both resigned, and then Margaret Thatcher made a point when she came in that she was doing it her way. She was not backing down, and then she implemented the ballot rule, didn't she, where unions would have to make a ballot, get everyone to vote before they do, and then they had to get a majority before they can protest. I mean, it was a lot harder, gave Margaret Thatcher and the government more time to react to it, so they can put things into place to try and stop it, slow it down. And that did seem to work, because that's still in place now, where you have to do a ballot vote before you can protest.
You can see the effects of strikes as well, 'cause in 1968, women mechanics at the Ford Motor Company plant in Dagenham took strike for equal pay and managed to get their wages up to 92% of men's wages.
So you can see that they obviously all came as one, and if they were the majority of the workers there, the company can't afford to lose that many workers all at once, because their production would slow down, they wouldn't be meeting their requirements, so they would have to find the best way for them to get the work done, and obviously in that scenario they had to obviously give the pay rise.
I was just going to say that Thatcher, the way that she went about it didn't really look that great, but she was doing it in the, I guess, kind of protection of the miners, because it was a really dangerous job going down the mines.
There's plenty of accidents where people died.
And even though it was the miners' only job that they had, I think she did it for just to try and protect, but also possibly maybe bring in different, so cutting out their work, so have more available employees to go into different jobs, more important, like instead of just focusing on coal, they can move up with possibly like nuclear power and all that other stuff. Probably.
Yeah. Well, everyone said that. Don't take this the wrong way. I'm not in favour of Margaret Thatcher. I don't really have an opinion on it, but everyone blames Margaret Thatcher for what was happening to miners. But if you look who was actually at the forefront of the protest, who was representing them, he was doing things allegedly very underhand.
Yeah.
So he wasn't really doing the best for the miners. He was doing what was best for him, rather than actually representing what miners really need, which was safer working conditions. Regular checks to make sure that it was all okay, because he seemed to just want maybe
what was best. He wanted more power, I guess.
Yes, they were both of them were very power driven. They wanted ultimate control over everything, and that was never going to work with two people like that. Like Ethan suggested earlier, with the beer and sandwiches prime minister. I think that's a much better way of doing it, because he's taking himself out of the authority. He's trying to become like one of the other people. Like he's trying to see it from their point of view. Whereas, man of the people. But when you have someone that's like Margaret Thatcher, who's, I'm the Prime Minister, you'll do it my way. People seem to rebel to that. They don't want to give in, like, they don't want to have no control over their own lives. So it's just different ways of working it. And they had to find out which one was best. Any more?
Just to point out that for 16 years the strikes was mainly in winter.
In winter?
So
I guess more maybe demand for work with coal, I guess. Was that with all the miners?
That they mined during the winter, probably because conditions probably got worse during the winter. If you think there would have been no heating down there. It probably maybe snowed a lot, and they could have got snowed in, who knows. But there was probably not enough people above ground making sure everything was safe for when they try and come back up. So maybe, I haven't looked into the history of it, but you could find examples of people just getting snowed in, possibly dying because they just couldn't come out. So I'm guessing that would probably be a working conditions issue.
And that's when they probably need more electricity in the winter. Coal powering a lot of, I don't know, power plants, I guess.
Well, it would also be darker nights, darker mornings when they were working. So
difficult.
It depends how much light they had down there as well. Because if they didn't have much light, they could be endangering themselves without even knowing. So without knowing fully, that would be my best guess of what was happening there. Anything else? Or is that everything?
Covered everything.
So thanks for listening.
That one.
Thanks for listening. We've tried to go over everything, and hope you enjoyed it. Well done, guys. No one's
I want to cut out. I knew I was going to come. Well, at least we got the